Before I was reborn, I found out machines in this world are upgradable mechs. All you need is to own any kind of machine, and you unlock the matching mech. A 100-year-old dude just owns a mechanical watch, and he can summon a mech with the power to control time. An 8-year-old kid just owns a toy electric car and becomes the mech overlord of the entire world. But in my past life, the only vehicle I owned was a shared bike, and so I never awakened any ability. Got flattened into paste by a 500-ton mechanical beast called the Devourer. But now I've been reborn, 7 days before the apocalypse. And I'm going all in on loans. Took out high-interest debt to scrape together $3 million. My past life taught me the rules. Vehicle tonnage determines mech power. So before the apocalypse hits, I'm building a 660-ton steel fortress to become the king of the Wasteland. And just 10 minutes ago, I showed up with $3 million in the bank and hit the heavy industrial machinery district. Found some workers in the garage office. Straight up, I need to buy a truck. The bald guy froze, then slapped on the slimiest smile. Oh hey, big boss. Name's Zhao. What are you looking for? Scania? Volvo? I want the biggest, heaviest thing you've got. I cut him off and looked straight out at the yard. 10 minutes later, I'm standing deep in the lot and I can't breathe. Right there is an XCMG 400-ton mining dump truck. The Rock Crusher, body taller than a 4-story building. Tires nearly 4 meters tall, 10 meters wide, 16 meters long. Jet black all over, steel showing through the cracked paint like old gold. Built for open pit mines. Empty weight 260 tons, payload 400 tons. Powered by a 3,650 horsepower marine diesel engine. 660 tons total. My eyes went wide. The Devourer from my past life was only around 500 tons. This 660-ton body of steel. What kind of terrifying mech would it become? Boss, this thing can't even drive on roads. Burns a ton of fuel too. Manager Zhao tried to talk me out of it. How much? I stared at the cab, eyes burning. $5 million. Zhao went in hard. I only had $3.8 million. Full payment, wire it right now. I stepped closer. You don't have to handle transport. This thing just sitting here is scrap metal. Sell it to me and you're cashing out tonight. Manager Zhao hesitated then. All right, fine. $3.8 million to sign the liability waiver. 10 minutes later, the e-contract is signed. Account wiped clean. I gripped the heavy key in my hand, climbed the vertical ladder all the way up to the 4-story high cab. Sat down in a driver's seat wide as a throne. Manager Zhao looked tiny as a rat down there. This is power. Key in, turn it, roar. A steel heart that's been sleeping for 3 years woke up. Black smoke blasted into the sky. The ground shook. Grabbed the millstone-sized steering wheel. Rock Crusher, and from today your name is Fortress. We're going home. Dropped it into gear. Released the brake, slammed the gas. The wire fence exploded open. The barrier arm got crushed flat. Fortress charged like a runaway bull, roaring down the open road. I felt every bounce, every rumble. My grin stretched ear to ear. 7 days until the apocalypse. More than enough time to arm this thing to the teeth. Pulled out a slip of paper. Address of a black market chop shop. Scraptown, north outskirts of Linhai City. Graveyard of junked vehicles. Paradise for illegal mods. But today, the whole place had gone dead silent. Because the monster had arrived. Boom, boom, boom! My fortress squeezed into the narrow road like a moving mountain. Junked cars on the side looked like toys. The tires ground over the asphalt and it cracked apart. Pulled up in front of an abandoned hangar, Thunderhammer Heavy Industries. The air brakes hissed like a whale blowing steam. Dust filled the air. The hangar door swung open. A jacked dude named Wang Dalei walked out swinging a massive wrench. He looked up and yelled, "Bro, you sure you got the right place? This is a garage, not a mine shaft." I climbed down the ladder. My ice-cold vibe shut him right up. Pulled out the blueprints. No maintenance, mods only. Weld a shipping container living quarters into the dump bed. Add a ram on the front. Cover the whole thing in 50mm marine steel plate. Wrap the tires in anti-burst chain armor. You going to war? 3 days isn't nearly enough time. Wang Dalei frowned. 500K labor. Materials extra. Deal. Wang Dalei slammed the wrench down. Called the crew in. Right as they were hoisting steel plates, a sharp engine roar ripped through the air. A red Ferrari SF90 blew into the yard. Door swings open. Out steps Zhangsan, limited edition AJ's, head-to-toe designer. In my past life, he stole my food and kicked me into a zombie horde. Rich kid scum. He didn't recognize me under all the grease. He covered his nose like he smelled something rotten. Hey Wang, where's my spoiler and nitro boost? I need to take first place in the supercar race. Full carbon fiber, guaranteed light as paper. Wang Dale forced a laugh. Brand new parts, gonna fly. I smirked from the shadows. In my past life, Zhang San's carbon fiber body after the mutation had less protection than a tin trash can. Got knocked off balance by flying debris, then stomped into red paste by the devourer. Zhang San finally noticed Fortress. Tapped the steel plate with his sunglasses. Wang, you guys collecting scrap now? This ugly thing's blocking my light. He turned and locked eyes with me. Wait, isn't that the little nobody? You selling insurance or delivering food? This your ride? I just stared at him, looking at him like he was already dead. Hey, you mute? Move your junk out of the way. Zhang San jabbed me in the chest with his finger. I grabbed his wrist. Zhang San went pale from the pain. Get lost. I tossed him aside. He stumbled back and nearly fell into a barrel of used motor oil. You're dead to me, he growled through gritted teeth and climbed back into the Ferrari. Watching him swap on lighter carbon fiber panels, I just laughed. He's playing the subtraction game. I'm playing addition, night fell. Scraptown blazed with light. 20 welders working in shifts. Front cab welded a triangular ram with 3 I-beams. Door panels swapped out for 30mm salvaged ship plate. Hinges replaced with tank-grade pins. Windows sealed shut with steel mesh. Tires wrapped in anti-burst steel chain mesh. A 20-foot shipping container got hoisted into the dump bed, divided into a storage section and sleeping quarters. Welded in a cot, a bio-toilet, and a diesel generator. This isn't a truck anymore. It's Noah's Ark. It's a rolling steel fortress. 3 days and nights. Barely slept. Watched every single weld. When the build finally wrapped, sunlight hit Fortress, matte black all over, diamond-shaped ram glinting cold. Rivets like scales, floodlights like compound eyes. Wang Dale collapsed to the ground. What in the world is this thing? I ran my hand across the cold armor. This, I smiled, is the prototype of the Fortress Tyrant. When that light comes down, it'll be the world's worst nightmare. Build complete. 3 days left until the apocalypse. A tank with no fuel is a coffin. A fortress with no food is a grave. I drove Fortress straight to the logistics warehouse district. The 1.2 million left in my account, all of it going into survival supplies. First stop, a private fuel depot. Grade 35 diesel. Give me everything you've got. Paid 20% over market. 200-liter drums, forklift loaded straight into the bed. Half an hour later, 20 tons of diesel filled the dump bed. Front section of the bed secured with steel pipes, surrounded by anti-impact sandbag barriers. That fuel will carry me thousands of miles or keep the generator running non-stop. Second stop, the wholesale market. 500 cases of military hardtack. 200 cases of high-meat canned luncheon meat. 2 tons of vacuum-sealed rice. Giant water jugs packed into every gap in the container. The vendors thought they'd hit the jackpot with some big-time buyer. I stood under the truck tuning my brand new compound bow. Food and water aren't enough. Weapons are non-negotiable. Compound bow, machete, modified nail gun, and fire axes covering every wall of the container. Entrenching tools too. June 21st. The last 24 hours before the apocalypse. The sky hung low with a weird, sickly gray-yellow haze. The air smelled like rust. Zoo animals refused to eat, roaring non-stop. Stray dogs crawled into the sewers. Cell signal was cutting in and out. The news was running stories on auroras and geomagnetic anomalies. I knew the mechanical spark was closing in. I drove Fortress toward my carefully chosen starting position. A dead-end unfinished overpass at the edge of the city. High ground, wide open view. Few people, few vehicles, perfect to dodge the first wave of vehicle mutations.